So a couple weeks ago, I went over to Magnaflow and they actually put their kit exhaust for the E92 M3 on. The whole point of this was to actually get the kit on there so I could hear the sound, and then we could actually take this kit and modify it to today's standards. This kit was actually made in 2010, around the original time when the E92 M3 came out. Basically taking Magnaflow's old kit and turning it into something new with all the different stuff they can do now. Tested this kit out for a couple weeks and it's pretty good, but it definitely has its shortcomings. So we're gonna try to work on those and get this to be a solid sounding exhaust. All right guys, we're back at Magnaflow. So today it's about figuring out exactly what we want to do for the sound, the look, how far we're gonna go as far as are we gonna go cat back, are we gonna go axle back, and that's pretty much it. Then we'll come back in the next couple of days and we'll get it dialed in and we'll get that new exhaust on. I think you would ask me scale 1 to 10.
Kind of the aggressiveness, I guess the overall loudness of what you're looking for.
Okay, yeah, and I was thinking like a 7 just because I don't want it to be like it's straight piped and it's like obnoxious and you can't just cruise at a normal speed.
Yep,
I think it's actually a pretty good volume right now.
Okay.
So as far as volume, I mean, I like it. I like that with this exhaust versus the M Performance, I can actually hear the idle.
Yep.
So a little bit more, you know, I'm gonna light, I can hear it idling now versus I couldn't really before with the M Performance. I think there's a little bit of drone around like 2,500, 2,700.
Overall, besides the tone of it, you like how loud it is.
Yeah, I like how loud it is.
We want to get away from the drone, especially on the freeway.
Yep.
So pretty much killing the low frequencies is going to be the goal. Try and get a little bit more higher pitch, which is going to maybe make it sound a little more aggressive. And then when you're cruising at low RPM, try and kill those low frequencies.
Yeah.
So.
So what's your idea right now of what you're gonna do?
So pretty much what he's doing is little Helmholtz chambers. What these are gonna do is kill that low frequency. So we're trying to get a little bit of higher pitch, kind of get away from the drone.
So with the Helmholtz resonators, this is really just to reduce the drone. So the air travels through that and back, and by doing that, it's actually canceling out certain sound waves. Do you have the key or is the key in there?
Yeah, the key's in there.
All right, cool.
I'll let you back out.
Okay, so now with the Helmholtz resonators in there, a lot of the drone is gone. So right here, we're at 2,500 and there's nothing. So we were just talking, and one of my biggest things that I noticed with this exhaust, one of the first things I noticed was the actual sound. So right now, the more muffled like downshifts, you can see the downshifts are pretty quiet, which is interesting because the exhaust is louder, but the downshifts feel pretty quiet. definitely like the sound better.
Try getting on it, going through the straight, and then downshift.
Sorry.
Now downshift? Yeah, still even is still a little quiet, yeah.
All right, so where my critique is right now is basically that the downshifts and still sound muffled, and so we're gonna mess with the muffler a little bit. Now, we only did the hems hold resonators, so really that was to get out the drone, and it definitely worked. So I kind of like the whole car was vibrating before, and now, honestly, it's crazy what the difference that made. I do also notice that the downshifts opened up a little bit, but it still could use some work. So we're gonna go back. They're gonna go ahead and take this off, and they're gonna have to actually build out new mufflers. So one of the things I didn't get to show in the last video is how cool this place really is. I mean, it's pretty much exhaust heaven. This place is crazy. Literally anything you can think of for exhaust they have. They have a whole section that they actually use for mass producing stuff. Anything for your typical exhaust along with cats. So there's a lot of little robots and different parts that go into this, and it's really an insane streamlined process.
So instead of with gravity welding down and then having to move the whole part, the robot will actually articulate around the whole part and continue the weld seamlessly. So you have no problems of moving the part. It's all one big seam. At any given time, two mufflers are being welded at one simultaneous moment.
And then in the Engineering and Technology Center, they're literally 3D scanning parts and also 3D printing stuff as well. And then the room everyone loves, the Performance Dyno. What they're doing right now is they have a C8 that's completely torn apart. There's something going on with all the exhaust systems that are made for this car currently. It's triggering something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's really sick to see the C8 torn apart. I showed you guys this in the last video. This is just the corporate offices, but it's cool to see Chip Foose's cars, photos of Richard Petty, and a bunch of different things in this room. All right, so basically what's happening right now is they're gonna go ahead and take off. They're gonna basically go straight pipe from the hems hold resonators back and see how it affects the sound before they make a muffler. That way they can see what it sounds like without the muffler and then go from there instead of just trying to guess with another muffler and testing, you know, oh, take this out of the muffler, take that out of the muffler. We're just gonna start from scratch, build our way back. So here's the potential tip option for the exhaust. Looks pretty sweet. It should look pretty cool to have the dry carbon up against the gloss carbon. We're kind of debating on the longer or the shorter, depending on which one we need to make it flush with the diffuser.
What you don't want is you don't want these barely touching. You either want these completely touching or you need a gap, but we can't really afford to have a gap.
Yeah.
So, and the problem is it's carbon, so we can't necessarily weld them together like we can with our stainless tips. So anytime we'll do something touching like that, we'll put a tack back there so it's kind of one assembly, so you don't have the rattling.
All right, so we got a somewhat temporary exhaust, but somewhat finalized at the same time. Just kind of like finalizing the little details of like how the tips are lined up, brackets, all that stuff. But we're gonna test this out right now and see how it sounds. It's definitely different. It's getting louder. holding my phone right now because it's hard to hold the camera and drive. But let's see how this sounds. It is so loud right now. Let's hear how downshift sounds. Day 2 right now, we are basically in the testing phase. So yesterday we got a good amount of testing in. I guess we're to say we're more in the finalizing phase today. We're basically gonna put 11-inch mufflers instead of 14, and also no packing inside. So typically they have some type of insulation that's inside. We're not having that in there. And we're gonna see how it sounds. Sounds good. I think this is the one. We got the sound. The last test we just did was, it sounds solid. For right now, we're actually taking the whole exhaust off, and we're gonna end up creating a production model of that. So literally right now, it was like one that was welded together, like the, you know, trying different stuff. This one will actually be the production model that will be, you know, done a little more clean. All right guys, so we got the final exhaust on. Now this video jumped around a little bit because on the final day I was actually moving, a lot of shit was going on, and I didn't have a chance to actually document them putting on the production version. But I do want to show you what they actually put on. Now a lot of it you guys saw is all like cutting, welding, putting all back together, but with the actual production version, these are actually, instead of doing, you know, 3 different pipes in a part, it's gonna be one solid piece. And now this is actually the production version for my car. It's all lined up, and then they're gonna make an actual version off of this. But anyways, I wanna get underneath this right now and actually show you guys what's going on in here. Right here, these are the 11-inch mufflers now. So they were 14 before when we had the kit. Now these are 11-inch without the steel wool. Sounds pretty good. We have the Hemshold resonators right here. Like we had all these cuts and welds. Now we have some nice welds. We also use the V-band clamps right here, so that it's really easy to take it off and put it back on. It really is a clean exhaust. So as far as the tips go, I ended up going with 3.5 and just going stainless polished instead of the carbon tips. I kind of felt like the carbon tips just too big. It didn't look right. They always felt like they were poking out a little bit, even though they weren't. They were actually inside closer. So to me, this is just a way cleaner look. It fits the build a lot better. But that being said, when they actually make the version that, you know, the X-Mod version of this, you can pick your tips. I just decided to go with these. All right, so here's what we ended up with. I really enjoy the sound. So downshifts sound a lot better than I did. They're more open. They were very very muffled from the larger mufflers. And now, honestly, I really enjoyed the sound. One thing I didn't like about the amp performance was that it was really quiet. So like when I'd be just driving like this, you wouldn't really hear it. And this definitely has more volume to it, but also it still has the top end being open, and I don't know, I really enjoy the exhaust note that's coming out of here.